And hello, this is Eamonn O'Brien, and you're so welcome to the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series. And coming up today, we're going to talk about something that really matters to most everybody in business today, which is if you have to speak to camera, how do you do it without fear and actually with great confidence? And do I have somebody here who can help you? She is a great friend of mine. She is an executive video coach. She is the president of professional speaking in Ireland, took over from me last year. Thank you very much, Lottie. Much appreciated. She is also a trainer and is the author of Confidence on Camera. I'm delighted to have the chance to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let's just jump straight in. So when it comes to things that cause people to fear speaking to what you like to call the mean machine, what comes to mind?
Well, it's a very interesting question, Eamonn, because really it's such a different game for ball game for every single person who jumps on camera. Remember, every single one of us who does this has a slightly different fear. And every single one of us who does this, who watches people doing this, has a different need and a different requirement. So one of the first things I always say to people is, please stop worrying what's going on in here about what you want to say to people and actually start thinking about how you're going to be helping people.
Yeah.
As you said, you introduced me, thank you very much, as the expert in this area. That's what I do. I work with people to create and build your own style of confidence on camera. And for every single person, that's a really, really personal thing, because we've all got fears and worries.
Yeah. And where do you think that worry comes from? So, obviously, what you say is quite right, but, where do you think it starts?
Well, Eamonn, I mean, you are the maestro, you are the reluctant speakers coach. So and through all of your interviews with various different people, that the common theme is always presenting in public is a major, major fear.
Sure.
But what most people don't realize is that there's a subtle difference between presenting in public on a big stage, where you can be very big on your stage, and using this as a tool, which is actually a very, very intimate conversation. Most people tend to watch this on a one-to-one basis.
Exactly.
So therefore, you need to feel that you're creating and building and growing a one-to-one conversation. And most of that comes from the fact that, if you'll notice, most of the time, I haven't been watching you, Eamonn, on the screen down here. I've been making eye contact with you through the camera lens.
Yeah, and I think actually I like it. I like that. The notion of speaking through the camera lens to a person is critically important. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there's so many different ways that you can actually do that. But one of the first sections that I talk about in my book, Confidence on Camera, it's 7 steps to create your own power on any size screen. So whether that is the big stage screen or whether it is using the lovely little mean machines that we've all got in our pockets, how you use all of these toys, whether it's one of these video cameras, whatever you use to film your video, that you are using that same mindset of forget the technology, forget worrying about everything, and start simply playing.
Yeah.
You've got to learn how to have some fun on here, because if you can't take the mickey out of yourself, we love videos, we love cats, we love comedy, we love bloopers. There's a reason that we love all of those things and that we find cat videos cute on camera. We love the eye contact. I always talk about the golden triangle. This is where we want to connect with people, is the eyes and the mouth. And the mouth has got to be smiling, because likability is much more important, actually, before your credibility. Yeah. You're not going to have credibility, trust, and belief, people believing in you, unless they like you first.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't agree more. And actually, I want to go back to something that you said, because I think it's really important, this notion of playing. And the truth is that we all now have these little devices. And basically, we have awesome technology in almost every smartphone. So for somebody, when they want to get started and really just kind of, if you like, learning to the baby steps, if you like, of getting up and running, what are your top tips?
Right. Well, top tips. First of all, beyond the mindset, because what I want to look at first, there's so many free videos out there, and I've actually do weekly. I do a Friday video chat weekly about different topics. So we were looking at framing, how you frame yourself, not too much space at the top of your head, not too busy a background. So first thing I always say is make it easy for yourself. And if you look at my background, I've got half busy. And if I turn the camera around slightly, it's even more busy. And there's lights in the background. So if I simply turn the camera, you see this little pop-up screen I have?
Yeah.
And there's all my lights hidden. All I need to, bear with me 1 second, but all I need to do, quick tip. Almost. Bring that forward, but not too far forward. Set the camera up. I've now made life much easier because all of my mess in my office is hidden behind there.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's a great those you can find on you can find them on Amazon. You can find them on lots of great photography stores as a pop-up screen. So look for a pop-up screen.
Pop-up screens, and in fact, I think I even saw something where you could put it on so that it would actually fit on the back of your chair. But I think what you have is slightly better.
They do, Eamonn. The only thing with those is that from my photography expert, Edward Barber, the other day from the UK, who exhibits all over the world, he was saying, make life easy by looking at framing and lighting of professional photographers and portrait artists. Because if you have it too close to you, you can end up with all sorts of shadows from the lights. We don't want too many shadow puppets in the background for ourselves.
Or it can look like you've actually your head has basically been mushed into the background. So
exactly. So while the back of the chairs are great, that's only if you've got fantastic window lighting. So natural daylight is always better. But then the other things that you can get for yourself. Excuse me, I'm looking all over the place. There's lots of other things. Toys, tools that you can buy. This is a portable light that goes on a tripod. I've even got another little one which is battery powered over here. That gives me my nice side lighting. So as I said, there's so many toys and gadgets and microphones that you need so you're heard properly. Oh, talking of making life easy, this is my fabulous tip.
Yes, please.
You know your business card boxes that your business cards come in?
Yes.
Little plastic boxes. Great storage for things like your microphones.
Oh, that is a good idea because those are so easy to lose.
Yes, microphone. I've got microphones, I've got USBs, I've got headphones, I've got these little boxes I keep all over the place. And they help me organize my studio. And then the other thing that I would always recommend to people is make sure you have enough memory. And I have just invested in this for myself, which is a little iPhone memory.
Bring it closer to the camera,
Yeah, it's an iPhone memory. This is actually a 64 gigabyte drive that you attach to your smartphone. So you're never going to run out of memory when you're out and about, especially if you're filming at events and catching fabulous testimonials.
Absolutely, because, I've got great memory of this thing, but my old one, the memory wasn't really not great. And now, actually, on that point, let's do a deep dive into maybe just 3 things that I think might be especially important when you're starting at the outset because you want people to feel more comfortable. The sound side of things is something which can seem very odd to people because when they watch themselves the first time, it can seem like it's terribly flat. And it isn't that it's necessarily that flat ordinarily, but, when you're in front of a camera, well, what happens?
Well, the biggest difference between when we are speaking in public and hear ourselves speaking, as soon as we are recording ourselves with a device, if you are recording audio and put it onto here, you're losing 60% of how you hear yourself naturally. And when you are speaking through a camera lens, if you think about the energy you have to use on a stage as a performance, and by the way, Eamonn, all of these tips of mine come from my years as a stage actor, a TV presenter trainer, a corporate trainer, voice coach, la 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 la, drama queen, been there, done it.
Yes, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. What's a drama queen? Always a drama queen, Eamonn, you always know that. and therefore I can be stupid and take the mickey out of myself. So that's a whole nother story we need to learn about as well. But coming back to the most important thing with the camera that you have to realize is on stage, we are 3D. We have width, height, and we have depth perception. But with a camera on screen, it's only 2D. So actually, straight away, I always reiterate this, you have lost 30% of your energy when you're talking through a camera. And again, bringing it back, it's got to be through a camera, a real person, rather than to a camera.
Yes, well, this is really interesting. And look, I'm reading this and I'm going from left to right, and goodness, yeah.
And the eyes going all staring.
Well, I think, and actually, so it's more like this. It's more like this, where we get very, very stiff, and
yes.
we don't want to mess, because if we move,
Well, I think the thing, once people get comfortable on camera, Eamonn, and you're thinking that you're talking to a real person, I always say to people, think of where you're most comfortable, and the person that you're most comfortable talking to and who makes you feel energized and enthused and enthusiastic and entertaining and wee all over the top and excited and excitable, that person for this particular topic. Because if you're doing a fundraiser, the energy is going to have to be completely different. You're calming everything down. And for me, I think of talking to my granny when she wasn't very well. And it's actually this is what I call, and what actors we call, the emotional connection. And you'll hear the voice has changed, the pace has changed. Therefore, this is the appeal. And actually, I'm starting to get quite emotional because I'm thinking about appealing to people for your decency and please donate to this cause.
Yeah.
So when you feel it for that message that you're sharing, you know you've got it right.
Yeah, and in fact, maybe just building on that, I think just the notion of speaking to not just a person, but somebody who you think really represents the person you want to share this message with is a great way to connect. Yeah,
absolutely. When you're first starting out, Eamonn, when you're first starting out, yes, that person that you want to share the message with, but when you get better and better and better, when you start to use more of your performance aspect and the emotional connection, that's when you can write down, I always say to people, write down the 3 key moods and energies you want people to say about you. It's a given that we're professional, businesslike, and the expert in our field. It's a given that we are informative. We are also educating people, educational and educating people.
Well, you're educating people, of course.
Exactly. So this is what we say, this is what I call in the TV world, it's infotainment. So it's information with some entertainment in there. And that comes from, at the next level, the skill level of knowing that you can swap and chop and change the moods that you're in at any moment. Like I can go from really appealing, because I can, to the next minute, smile at myself, and I can come out of it. And I can say thank you so much to people. I really appreciate your time and the efforts for being here today. And because I feel I'm now talking to a different character, a different person, when I'm in that mood than when I was in my appeal, softer, gentler mode.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think at a basic level is really about thinking about what role are we going to play today, and in giving what you want to give your audience, what best serves that. Maybe just delving a little bit then into something else that you mentioned earlier on. You talked about, being close, being near, but something else that's really important is the lighting and what people can actually see. If you were to give people one quick tip, what would it be?
The easiest thing to do if you have nothing is no lighting. Is first of all, if I can get this in front of you, this is simply a cheap lamp from bought online with a coloured, warm colours light frame that gives off a more orangey glow. And I have that on one side, and then on the other side, I have, again, bought online. You can get them in all sorts of homeware stores. This is the bright light. Now, I don't want to shine that straight on my face, otherwise I'm getting ghosty. Yeah. So what I do with that, you don't want to be Halloween, look for business, hello. Unless, of course, it is Halloween. Yes. So what you do with that is shine that. If you have a white wall, or even buy a big piece of white cardboard and bounce, it's called bouncing it back, where I've got that in front of me and I've got a white wall. So I bounce the light back off me. Now, because I have it in my pro studio, I buy all the toys. So I go off and I buy bits of everything. Which of these tripods is the one I should use? Which is my monopod? What do I get? You know me, I've got loads of toys, Eamonn.
Yes.
But because I have in my studio, I happen to have a big, proper...
Oh, you have a proper
light here.
Yeah.
So, but you can see again the difference between how I turn that's too much on me. But if I turn it slightly, if I move it slightly further away and turn it slightly away, then, without losing me too much, you see, it's all a bit too bright with all of it. But then the best thing to do is buy them, play, find out what works.
Experiment.
And if you have glasses, avoid having a light in front of you, because that's going to happen as you talk. And all we're looking for is what works on camera and what's distracting on camera. Now, sometimes you can't help that, but by having this little warm light, which was, I think it was like $30 or something.
Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah, by having that with a warm filter, they've got little portable filters that come on and off.
The little orangey one.
Yeah, that's my orange one. That just gives me, for my colouring, I prefer to have the warm light. Now, if you've got no lights whatsoever, all you need is a tripod and your camera on your phone, and sit in front of a window with light on your face. So film with the light this way.
Yeah, that's a wonderful advice. Well, switching tack, and I'm really enjoying our conversation, and I know we could do this many, many times over, really, but imagine I gave you a magic wand, and I said, right now, Lottie, here's your magic wand. There's only one thing that you can do that will really help you. There you go, magic wand. That will help people to create more interesting videos. What would you use your magic wand to do?
It would be to learn to let the ego go and have fun on screen. Yeah, seriously. My company's called Press Play Presentations, not only because of the press play button for videos, but it's also because, as I said at the very start of our chat, we've got to learn to play on camera. This should be fun. If you're doing this and you're finding it difficult and hard to do, you're doing something the difficult or hard way. So step back from it and go and do something a bit more fun. Start somewhere fun, like Facebook Live videos on your personal page.
And you can do that just to yourself, so that you can see exactly what it looks like. So I think that's great advice. Yeah, I love it. And then also with that, Eamonn, as I was saying, leave the ego at home. Yes. Just
because this is business and these are business videos doesn't mean it all has to be terribly, terribly serious and terribly me. I'm telling you what I can do. We're great. Our business is fantastic. Oh, we're marvelous. No, go back to Eamonn's advice that he's always telling you, to be the storyteller.
Yes.
You to be the storyteller, but work out what works for you on camera. Watch TV. I love it. Can always say to people, your homework is to go and watch some television and watch some fun YouTube videos. find out what it is about presenters that you love, and then find out what it is about them that's too distracting.
Yes.
When they're on camera.
Yes.
What dingly dangly earrings? What is it that annoys and irritates you? And stay away from that.
Yeah, and learn from it, yeah. Now, very last question. You know, you've been involved now in acting as an actor. You've been involved in kids' television. You've been involved in video and lots of different things over the years. What is the single best piece of advice that you were ever given that, if you like, you use pretty much all the time, even today, to guide what you do?
I think it's actually a piece of advice that I turned into a catchphrase of my own. It was get over yourself on camera.
All right.
And I turned that into it when I was coaching and training people in Australia, and they're now presenting across the world, which is fantastic. It was the Australian phrase for messing up is stuff up. It's also possibly for up as well. So it's a slightly more polite way of saying, and a slightly more cheeky way of saying messing up. So the phrase is always, you've got to learn to stuff up with confidence and get over it.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great advice. And on that bombshell, that is a perfect way in which to end. And can I thank you, Lottie, for joining with me today? It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks very much, Eamonn, for having me. Really, really appreciate chatting, and hopefully that's given some gems to people of all levels, whether you're just starting out or whether you're wanting a little bit more advanced information as well. Because I know Eamonn gives out great advice for people on your presentations, and this will hopefully give you those ideas. Right, what can I do on camera? How am I going to do it? Live streaming, recording video, doing Zoom calls like we're doing here that Eamonn uses, but find out which tool is going to work for you as well. And that's a whole nother conversation that I'm sure you've probably got chats about already, Eamonn.
Well, we over time, we will cover it all. But listen, thank you so much. And also, thank you for watching the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series today. And until the next time, here's to awesome speaking.